Hello and Merry Christmas. I've got a beautiful winter scene here. I think this would make a lovely Christmas card for you. It involves some of our new trees and our deer. Absolutely just so serene and peaceful. Let me introduce the dies we'll be using for today's card. We have from our festive collection, we have the Snowflakes. Oh, excuse me. We have the Dove of Peace, and we're going to be using the peace word from that. The Winter Trees, and the Deer Family. And we're going to be making a frame with the Ornate pierced rectangles. Okay, we'll set these out of the way and we'll get started. Now, I've gone ahead and I've already cut a frame out of the Ornate pierced rectangles and add a little mounting foam on that. So what we're going to do is create the scene inside the frame first. So a little bit of self-adhesive sticky sheet onto a piece of white card is what I've gone ahead and done. And we are going to peel that up, just get the edge of that started. Okay, and using some diamond sprinkles, we're going to give it a little bit of a glittery background. So let me bring in a piece of copy paper here. Just cover that completely. Give it a good press into that double adhesive tape. Absolutely gorgeous. And we put all the rest back into our container. There we go. Now I've torn just a piece of regular white card into kind of like a little hill scene. So what we're going to do is add that with some Cosmic Shimmer glue. And this just dries clear, so we'll pop this into place. About like that. That should work. There we go. Let me just see where that sits on that frame. That's perfect there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is go ahead, we'll put this into the frame, we'll trim away the excess bits. Now I've put some mounting foam on the back here to raise it for some dimension, because that really does look pretty. Okay, pop that into place about like that. There we go. And with our scissors, we'll just trim away the extra bit that shows. Just angle your scissors away and underneath there. There we go. Tidy that up. Okay, so now we've created a really nice little snowy platform for our deer and our trees. So I've gone ahead and I've sugared, which is the term I use for glittering the trees, on quite a few of these. But just to show you what I've done, I've got a tree that I've cut already. This is out of our winter trees. I'm going to bring my Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear Glue in and just give some kind of irregular dabs across it. You can see the embossing on the tree, so you can kind of follow that as a guideline. Just make it just little dots of the Dries Clear Glue here. There we go. Let me do that part. And I'm going to be using the ice snow here. So I'm going to do the top and then we'll finish the bottom part. There we go. Tap that off. Turn that. And just a little more glue. Nothing neat about it. It's just going to look very random, almost like snow has fallen. Pop that on there. Okay, now that'll just take a few minutes to dry, so you can set that aside. Pour that back into your container. Okay, pop that over there. So let's set this one out of our way so we don't get that. And I've got some that I've already done, so you can see how pretty that is when it dries. It just gives it a real lovely shimmer. Okay, so I'll go ahead and start to create our scene there. And I'm just going to apply these with some Cosmic Shimmer glue on the back. I'm going to have a couple of these out on the top of the frame, so it kind of leads your eye inward. We'll put one here. Slightly overlapping, not too much. A little bit lower there. There we go. Take one of the smaller ones I've done. And there's quite a few different sizes in the tree set there. And you can always cut them down and make them smaller just by nipping away the bottom part of it. Let me get a couple of these little guys and we'll put them up in the corner. And about like that. Right on the ridge I think is good. We'll add one more here. just like that, and one more to the outside, and I've actually got a little smudge there, so we'll use that tree to cover that. A little bit of glue there, get the tip of that. That'll cover that little smudge just perfectly. There we go. Okay, so next I'm going to move on to my deer. Now, if you look at these deer, I've gone ahead and done a few of these. They look solid. They have a little bit of detail, but when you cut them, let me show you, they aren't solid. Let me set this to the side. Okay, so we're going to cut the mama deer here. A little bit of tape. There. Pop her through. Go. Let's check her. Okay, and I do want to do some embossing so you can see the detail on this too. So let me just bring her in and run her through with the tan mat. And that'll bring out all the beauty in that embossing. Okay. Okay. Now take out some of these bits here, pop her out. So you can see that the top part of her is a real pretty filigree cutout area. Now, I didn't want that to necessarily show on this. I wanted it to look more like a silhouette. So it's a very simple fix. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the back, right around that area. Just a tiny bit to the top. There we go, and you can even smooth it out. Pop her down on a piece of card, and I'm going to use my scissors. Just get around underneath her. There. And across the top here, I'm just going to follow that line. There we go. So that dries, you will fill in that little bit of a decorative area. So she looks more like a silhouette, which is what I wanted for my card. So I've got a couple here that I've done with the mounting foam on the back. So let's bring that over. We can add them into place. Okay, and let's put a little bit of glue on the back there. I think I'll pop her in place right about like that. And then her little baby there, which is so pretty. Put her in there. Right to the side. Okay, and I've done a base with a little bit of piercing around the edge, added some pearls to it. So we will go ahead and put that right into the center there. I'm just going to use a little bit of Cosmic Shimmer glue. You've got those pretty cut corners on that ornate rectangle. So I've added some pearls there. Now, really nice, loving the way this looks, but it needs a tiny bit more. So I'm going to add the word peace. Now I've cut it once in white and I've cut it in black. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of glue to the back of my white one. There we go. And I'm going to just offset that ever so slightly onto the black one. So it creates a pretty shadow. There we go. That looks good. And then add a little bit of glue to the back of that and we'll put it into place. Got just a tiny bit heavy there. Let me move it around a little bit. Right in the center of that nice frame. Oh, and I've got one more tree here. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to pop that into place too. Set that right about like that. That'll create a little forest behind the deer. And to finish off, I've cut one of the real pretty twinkle stars from those snowflakes. A little bit of glue right in the corner there. And because you're on glitter, it'll take just a second to set up. You want to make sure it catches. But how pretty is that? I just think that's such a gorgeous card. Black and white, it's always so elegant.